Hey everybody, welcome back to Almost Sideways, a channel for movie conversation. My name is Adam, and a couple days ago, I kind of had an idea pop into your head, and you have those ideas, you just kind of brainstorm and you kind of go with it. And I wanted to talk about 2020 one last time. I know 2021 is here, and that last year was horrible and everything, but I thought of something that I thought could be a good conversation starter. The movie theater experience. Granted, they didn't really happen too much last year because of the closures with the pandemic and everything. But I was able to go to the theater 9 times. That was 2 times going to the drive-through as well. And I wanted to talk about the movies that I went to see in theaters, as well as the experience that involves going to the theater. There's a lot of talk about theaters possibly not being in existence anymore with the uprising of streaming services like HBO Max and Disney Plus, and a lot of great movies going onto those services. But I wanted to take a second to take a step back, talk about the movies I actually went to theaters and saw on the big screen, where a lot of these big movies should be seen. Even smaller films that are quieter definitely deserve to be on the big screen. But before we get started, I need you guys to do 2 things. If you guys love having movie conversations, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and also leave in the comments section down below your favorite movie theater experiences. Now, if you didn't actually go to a theater per se, and that your theater was in your own home, in the comfort of your couch, let me know some of your favorite films that you saw in the comfort of your own home, because that is a theater essentially too, right? So with that said, again, I only went to see 9 films. You will see a couple 2019 movies because at the beginning of this 2020 year, we go see those award-containing films. So, and again, 2 movies I did go see at the drive-in. One is actually not from 2019 or 2020. So just be aware, be mindful. Look in the description box of this video or podcast, wherever you're listening to it on. You will see the 9 films that I went to see. And heck, if you want to, you could even rank the films in the comments section. Whatever you want to do, really appreciate it. Just make sure you subscribe and join the conversation. That's what I really care about. So coming in at number 9 on my list for my, it was a good experience. I'm going to go with Spies in Disguise. Now, not a really good film, in my opinion. I really wasn't a fan of this Tom Holland, Will Smith, animated movie. However, the experience of going to the theater with my daughter, because she was super excited, and she actually enjoyed this movie a lot more than anybody else in the family. And even she's seen it on HBO Max now a couple times. So it's, for me personally, it's my least favorite experience, but being able to watch a child watch a film that she's actually really enjoying and laughing at the jokes, it kind of warms my heart. I really enjoy going to the theater with her because now she's getting to the age where she's actually paying attention. She doesn't squirm a lot. She wants to eat her popcorn while she enjoys the movie. Just a kid after my own heart. I'm treating her right. At least I'm trying to. But overall, this is the one film on my list that I really didn't enjoy out of the other movies that I did watch. So for me, it didn't work, but the experience just going with my daughter was a lot of fun. So that's awesome. Number 8 on my list is actually a movie I went to see at the drive-in, which, theaters were kind of closed near the end of last year. I think we saw this about in August. So the theaters were closed in Washington, and they don't look like they're opening up anytime soon. However, the drive-in was open. So I wanted to support a local business. So we packed up the car. All 5 of us in our household went over to the drive-in, and we watched How to Train Your Dragon. Now, this film obviously came out a while ago. This was a DreamWorks animated film, and I absolutely, love this movie. I think this is one of top tier Pixar. Ooh, I almost got in trouble there. DreamWorks animated studio, a DreamWorks film, and it's just a great family film. And we had a great time watching as a family. We were kind of getting that kind of like restless to being in the house all the time. So we wanted to go out, support a local business, kind of stretch our legs a little bit, and go watch a movie. And it was a lot of fun going to see this film. I'm putting it near the bottom of my list for the simple fact is there's 5 of us in a big car, and I somehow was sitting on something and my back started hurting, and it was kind of uncomfortable. You're sitting in a car like 2+ hours for this one, and great movie, fun time. My back was hurting though. So number 7 on my list is a film I saw in late January, and this is Knives Out. Now, I did see this film in 2019, but this was a film that I went to see with my dad as a part of a second film of a double feature that we had that day. And I will talk about the first film later on. Knives Out was a very fun film. Basically, we were just trying to figure out, we kind of drove up to the theater one day, him and I. We decided, okay, what movie we're going to see. We were going to see our first film no matter what. And then we went out to lunch and we're like, okay, let's see the show times, what's playing around this time, how long is the wait between films. And we were almost leaning towards Star Wars Rise of Skywalker. However, he hadn't seen The Last Jedi, or he can't even remember if he saw Force Awakens. So I was like, no, let's stick away from Rise of Skywalker. I wasn't a huge fan of that movie. Let's go see Knives Out again. I enjoyed that one. It's fun. But it was kind of a long day. I think we started at like 9 in the morning or whatever. And I think by the time we saw Knives Out, it was 2. So I was getting there's some time in between the films, but it was a good time to talk. And it was a fun time. And we both enjoyed it. It's kind of like a remastered Clue for this generation. And my dad really actually enjoyed it quite a bit. And we had a lot of fun with it. The second time around, though, I felt that it was a little slower. I was kind of checking my phone, which I'm not, very quietly like peeking at it, see what time it was. Kind of wanted to get over because I was getting kind of tired, and because it was kind of getting to a long day. Nothing wrong with the movie whatsoever. I really do enjoy it. It was a fun experience going with my dad, and then actually talking about the movie and talking about the characters, who we liked, who we didn't like. It was a fun experience watching this kind of whodunit with my dad and seeing if he would have known, if he knew that whatever the outcome was at the end of the movie. And talk about him in the parking lot. So that was a lot of fun that way. So number 6 on my best experience list is X-Men: The New Mutants. Yes, we went to the drive-in to see this one as well. We saw this the week before Tenet came out, and we were kind of hoping Tenet would go to the drive-in. However, the ruling for that film is you have to have a theater open in your district for that movie to play the drive-in, and the district or that county wasn't playing. Their theaters weren't open. There was one theater that did have Tenet, but we couldn't go for whatever reason, unfortunately. So, but anyway, New Mutants was another one that my daughter came with us and my wife and I. So it was just the 3 of us. Got out of the town, just go a couple hours, like an hour away to go to the drive-in. It was a fun experience. I think we got some food. I think we got some burgers or something like that too. So we got our tasty burgers, and we went to the drive-in, watched New Mutants, and my daughter fell asleep kind of fast. There were some spots in the film that actually kind of creeped my wife out. And granted, I know it's not like necessarily a great movie. However, I think it could have been a lot worse considering all the delays with it. The only downside watching this movie on the drive-in was that it's kind of there's some darker sequences in it, and because it's a drive-in, you don't get the full coloration of the screen, so there was kind of that you couldn't really tell what was going on. I still enjoyed it a lot more than most people did, but I do know it's not a great film. But the experience it was definitely a lot more comfortable this time. I made sure I brought extra blankets to lay down in the back of our car so we can be comfortable and not be cramped up or whatever. But it was fun experiences going out, hanging out with the 3 of us, and seeing a superhero movie. And again, we had a lot of fun with it. So that's the most important thing. Number 5 on my list for best experience was when we went to see Bad Boys for Life. Yes, the number one grossing film for domestically anyway, and it was Bad Boys for Life, which is crazy to think about. I never would have guessed that was the film. And we saw this in I believe it was February, I think. So we caught this one a little bit later. But my wife and I got out of town. It was her and I pre-pandemic, and we went over to Portland, Oregon. We got a hotel there, and I think we stayed in Portland, but we drove back up because the show time, we really wanted to see Bad Boys, and the only one we were catching a wrestling event later on that afternoon, and NXT Portland, if you guys are big wrestling fans. But anyway, we wanted to see Bad Boys for Life, but the only show time was over in Vancouver, Washington. So we drove up there, drove over to Vancouver, and went to see the movie. and we had a blast with it. It was a really cool theater. It was kind of like, it felt like a VIP. There was recliner chairs there. It was a theater we'd never been to before. Super clean. I guess I'm saying super clean, but it's pre-pandemic stuff. But it was cool. It was not a sold out show. We caught a matinee. It was a fun experience. We had some good laughs in it. And overall, it was just a really fun film to go to the theater, just her and I. And she wanted to see this one for a long time anyway. So it was overall just a fun, great experience at the theater. And I actually would go back to that AMC in Vancouver because it was a very unique. It was like a 2-layer theater where we had actually to go to see the Bad Boys for Life. We had to go to the second floor of this mall to get to that screening. So pretty cool, kind of interesting, a little different. But anyway, Bad Boys for Life. Number 4 on my list is the first film of that double feature I was talking about previously, and this film is 1917. Now, I needed to see this movie before my top 10 of the 2019 best movie list, and I absolutely love this film. This film actually wound up being my 3rd favorite film of 2019. And the experience watching it with my dad was fantastic. He didn't really know anything about it, and he's a casual viewer, moviegoer. So he's basically said, just whatever you want to watch, just pick something and we'll go watch it. And I said, let's go see 1917. I think that's gonna be the best movie for both of us to go watch. And as we're sitting there watching the film, and of course you guys know the Roger Deakins, Sir Roger Deakins at this point, his cinematography, that's the word, is just crazy. They try to do that one shot tactic type of thing. And my dad leaned over like halfway through and he's like, are they filming this on a GoPro? How are they filming these shots? They're pretty crazy. And best part about this one, we were on the edge of our seats and he kept on leaning over a couple times, gathering his thoughts. And it was very interesting. That was the first time my dad and I really talked about technical aspects of a film. And it was very, very awesome because I don't really get it. My wife and I watch movies, but we don't actually talk about like in-depth reviewing it and decide that's right out of the theater. And my dad and I went over to get like Five Guys burgers and, got a bite to eat. And we were just talking the whole time about this movie and just how they shot it, kind of little tracking shots, little like the time jumping that they do in the movie. We're talking about that, the performances, the ending battle. And talking about it could be like this generation Saving Private Ryan or something like that. Really just a cool conversation that it came out of this film experience. And I don't think if I didn't go see this with my dad, I would have had that necessarily. Heck, I found it on 4K, which I want to revisit. My wife originally didn't want to watch this movie. And now I finally talked her into it. So eventually we'll have to watch it again. So 1917 is probably my 4th favorite viewing experience this year. Number 3 was Freaky, starring Vince Vaughn. And it was just like, that was something that I wanted to go see a movie in the theater. There was a small window up here in Washington that the actual theaters were open again. And I went to see it at the AMC theater over here in one of the cities. And man, what an experience. Being back in the theater was like, oh my goodness, I miss this place. And it's crazy. Once something's taken away from you, you don't really appreciate it until it's gone. And going to see Freaky was just such a fun experience. Going in, checking into the AMC app, picking your seats out. Of course, it was very safe. That was one thing that I was like, okay, it's just going to be my wife and I. We'll mask up, no worries. We'll be safe. And I was really happy with how AMC treated this experience. And we stood in line, had the distance to park to get our little popcorn or our little candies or whatever, and then we went in and sat in our theater, and we just had so much fun. We were laughing. We were on the edge of our seats with some of the kills, and just had a lot of fun with this film. And and it seemed like everybody did. And it felt like we never left, but then it also felt like I hadn't been there forever. It was kind of one of those weird feelings that you have. But I definitely missed going back to the theater. I wish we would have seen more movies in theaters this year. And Freaky probably could be my favorite experience, but the top 3 are really tough to differentiate the different experiences because they're all unique, but also very kind of personal at the same time. So Freaky is as of right now, it's my 3rd favorite movie experience of 2020. Number 2 on my list, getting the top 2. Birds of Prey, or The Emancipation of One Harley Quinn. Now, this movie was a lot of fun. I really like this a lot better than Suicide Squad. I've said this before. Margot Robbie is like the perfect Harley Quinn, and seeing it on the big screen. This is actually when we went down to Portland, going back to the Bad Boys for Life conversation. We saw this the day before. We went down early to go see some movies, and we went to see Harley or Birds of Prey, and we had a lot of fun. There's a theater down here in Portland. I think it's close to Beaverton, Oregon. So we drove down there to go see this film, and they actually take your order of food and they deliver it to your seat. But it's not like just regular burgers and fries or popcorn or whatever. No, this is like, it's like dining. I can't remember exactly what I ordered, but it was delicious. I think it was like I believe I ordered some kind of pasta, and my wife ordered like, it's like a rice peel. I don't know, some kind of, I can't remember exactly what the dish was, but I know it tasted really good. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was kind of one of those unique experiences. It was like this really nice restaurant attached to the AMC theater. So the restaurant was shipping food into the theater, into the seats. So really unique experience, considering it was one of those ones that it was kind of a special getaway weekend for us, and we wanted to see this movie. And then we had, of course, we just laughed and we had a great old time watching the movie itself. And then we went into to our hotel and got checked into Portland, just kind of like traveled around the city, see the sights and stuff like that before the next day where we went to see Bad Boys for Life and go see our wrestling event. So really fun experience there. One of my favorites. I do remember that. I want to go back and try that food again and hopefully remember it this time. But easily my favorite movie experience is actually kind of one of those movies that it's going to probably be one of my favorites in my head a lot. It's not maybe the best movie of the year, however, it's going to be a personal pick. And that film is Sonic the Hedgehog. It was my birthday weekend, so mid-February. Always go see a movie on that weekend, either with my wife, and now we take our daughter. But I let my daughter pick, and she wanted to go see Sonic the Hedgehog. She's been asking for it for the longest time. But she said, can we bring my cousin and also invite Grandpa? And so Grandpa came along and watched the movie with us, and we had a blast, man. Like looking over, we had all five of us sitting in the seat in the row or whatever, and I'm just looking over at my daughter, and she's all snuggled up next to her grandpa watching Sonic the Hedgehog, and we were laughing. My daughter and I really were geeking out about this experience and about the film, especially that end credit sequence when Tails shows up, and then when you get Jim Carrey being super Mr. Robotnik, crazy fun stuff. And my daughter watches the Sonic the Hedgehog TV show, and I used to play the Sega show, so we're trying to mix those two worlds together and watch it on the big screen with her. It was a lot of fun. We had a great old time. But on a personal level, this is maybe a little hard for me to get through, so bear with me if you don't mind. My dad passed away in 2020 in November. But so this was the last movie I was able to watch with him, and it's tough. It was tough. It came out of nowhere. It wasn't because of the virus or anything. That's why he left. But it was just kind of something that happened. Very tragic and really unexpected. It really was. But I will always remember this experience, because not only was it the last time I was able to go see a movie with my dad, but it was just that we had that whole fun experience where my daughter was there and Grandpa was there, and we had a lot of fun. We were laughing and seeing this film, and I'm thankful that it was actually good too. And so this, when I do my top 10 best movies of the year, this is definitely going to be mentioned as an honorable mention, at least, because it has that close personal relation. This will always be in my head as my last movie that I saw with my dad. So I'll always have a close personal relationship touch with, I guess. So when I was coming up with this list, this is easily the number one pick for me. And it was like nothing came close to it. So, well, anyway, now that I got really emotional with me, what was some of your guys' best experiences going to the movie? And I said, if you had some experience where you were just at home watching movies, let me know those too, because I would love to have a good conversation down in that comments section down with you, because it's a place for conversation, guys. And I want to have this good conversation about movie theaters, and hopefully we get to see some movies in 2021. And who knows, if we see a lot more movies in theaters next year, we'll maybe do this conversation coming in early 2022. Who knows? That's planning ahead. I'm doing my best, and we're growing. We're on our way to 200 subscribers. Starting off, we're really doing good. I really appreciate all you guys' support. Make sure you hit that like button as well. And if you guys would like to have more conversation, make sure you check out the podcast hosted by Terry Sack, Todd, and I. And you can find us on Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, and Pandora. Until next time, guys, my name is Adam. You guys stay awesome.